Hi guys. So today we're going to talk about 11.5. 11.5 is talking about volume of 3D shapes. And we're going to look at two in particular today in prisms, which we talked about last, let's see, what was that, Monday? And cylinders, which we touched on very briefly on Monday. But so we want to find the volume. And so volume's different than area, right? So area, we're talking about 2D shapes and how much space is inside of it. Where volume, we're talking about looking at 3D shapes. And when you think of volume, think about in three-dimensional space, how much is enclosed by the figure. So if you were to think about like your house, the volume of your house would be like, let's say you filled your house up with, I don't know, let's say you filled your house up with water. It's like how much water it could hold, right? So it takes that third dimension with some height to it. Um, and as we talk about three dimensions, then we get to units that are to the third power. So let's say our units were centimeters. Now we're talking centimeters cubed. Very important part. So let's kind of look through some of these. Again, we're talking about two different kinds of volume. First, we're talking about volume of prisms. And our equation for our volume of prisms is volume equals, this is base area, right? So whatever your base is, we talked about how to figure out area for a lot of different shapes on Monday. But so whatever your base is, you have to figure out the area of that base, and then you have to multiply it by your height. We're going to talk about one specific kind of prism the most, and that's rectangular prisms. But you could do this with triangular prisms, with pentagonal prisms, and all the different kinds we talked about on Monday. So let's take a peek here at rectangular prisms. So rectangular prisms, we get a volume of length times width times height. And if we kind of connect this back to this previous one, our base area, right? So our base is this rectangle. And in order to find the area of a rectangle, we do length times width. So that's where that comes from. It's just applying this previous formula. And so if we do length times width and then multiply it by height, we get our volume of this rectangular prism. So let's go through and we say volume equals length 12 times width 4, multiplication signs, times height 5. And when we do that out, we get 240. And let's look at our units. We've got centimeters. Since we're talking volume, it's to the third power. Notice we're dealing with 3D shapes now. That's why our units are to the third, right? We've got 3 dimensions, so we have to take that into account with our units. Okay, so that's finding volume of a prism, and in particular, a rectangular prism. So let's continue. Next, we're going to talk about finding the volume of a cylinder. So again, we're looking at finding the area of our base for a cylinder, right? And our base is this circle shape. And so we're looking to find the volume of that. Again, it takes the same idea of us finding the area of our base and then multiplying it by height. Now it's been a bit since we did area of a circle, but area of a circle is is pi r squared, right? The section, that's the area of our base. And then we just want to multiply it by our height. So basically we're taking this circle and we're doing a bunch of them, right? We're filling this thing up with as many circles as it is tall. So that's what our volume means, right? Because we're trying to fill up that cylinder. So let's look at one. So we're trying to find our volume, and it is equal to pi times our radius squared. So notice we're given radius. If we were given diameter, we'd have to cut it in half. But we're given our radius. Not there yet. Given our radius is 25. So times 25 squared times our height, which we're told is 40. So if we go to our calculator and we say pi times 25 squared times 40. We get out this nice big number. Of volume equaling 78,539.82. Again, check out our units. Our units here are inches, so toss our inches. And our units should be cubes since we're talking about volume. So that's the two main shapes we're going to deal with when we talk about volume for right now. We'll get into more in the coming weeks. So let's take it up a notch. So lastly, we're going to talk about the area of composite shapes. Okay, and so a composite shape is a figure or shape made up of multiple shapes, right? And so if you're ever asked to find the area or the volume or something of a composite, that means that you want to find the total, right? So this means total amount, right? Whether you're talking about area or volume, right? So if we're looking at this, we've got two shapes that make up this composite shape. We've got this cube up top, or that box up top, and this box down below. So we've got two shapes that make up one. That's our composite shape. And so whenever you have this, you want to take and look at both pieces. So here, if we want to look at both, we need to find the area of that top, or sorry, we're talking about volume, right? We want to find the volume of that top shape and add it to the volume of this smaller or this larger shape. So let's do that. So let's call this, let's see, A, and this shape will be B. So volume of A is equal to, what kind of shape is this? So this is a prism, right? A rectangular prism. It's got a rectangle as a base. And we said you find the volume by doing length times width times height. So if we do that, we got 2 times 3 times 4. And when we do that out, you get 2 times 3 times 4 gets you 24. And we're in yards cubed, since we're talking volume. Okay, now we got to find volume of B. And that we get 9 times 8 times 4. 9 times 8 times 4 gets us 288 yards cubed. And so we're trying to find the area of the composite, right? The question asks for the area of the composite shape above. That just means we take these two pieces and we add them together. So our total volume is equal to 24 yards cubed plus 288 yards cubed. Forgot my D over here. And that gets us a total of 312 yards cubed. Final answer. Let's color it differently. So whenever you're talking about a composite, you're looking at the total or the combination of the two.